Hi, in this video we are going to explore the members of the endocrine system. Okay, so again, to do this, we are going to use this software, this anatomical software that we have been using. Okay, so first of the members are coming from the brain. So we are going to peel off the skin and again look at the brain area. If we hide half of this, so if we look at kind of at the base of the brain, right? Right here, there is a structure that is kind of hanging at the base of the brain. If you look at it from the front, it is kind of in between the eyes, but dangling kind of um, below the frontal lobe of the brain. It's really connected to the brainstem, but it's kind of like hidden below the frontal lobe. We have a structure. This structure is what we call the pituitary gland. Okay, that is the pituitary gland. So again, it is at the base of the brain, kind of like dangling below the frontal lobe and in between the eyeballs. That is the pituitary gland. Okay, and then something related to the pituitary gland is the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus is this structure here. Okay, so you can think of it as the pituitary gland is actually hanging below the hypothalamus, which is connected to the brain stem. All right, so this is the hypothalamus. And then if you look at the back of the brain, right, kind of between the two hemispheres, here, there's this small structure. This is called the pineal gland. The pineal body or the pineal gland. So those are the three things that are kind of related to the endocrine system. Again, the pineal gland is kind of at the back of the brain between the two hemispheres, but still on the brainstem. This small structure here. The hypothalamus is this one, which is connected to the brainstem still. And then hanging below the hypothalamus is this pituitary gland. Now, later on, we will explain that the hypothalamus and the pineal gland are really part of the nervous system, but they are very much related to the endocrine system. And if we talk about the endocrine system properly as a system, we would think of the pituitary gland as the master of that system. So the master system is the pituitary gland. And you can think of the hypothalamus and the pineal gland as really part of the nervous system, but they influence what the endocrine system. So you can think of them as kind of like the bridge between how the nervous system controls the endocrine system. But insofar as the endocrine system is concerned, it's really the the pituitary gland that controls all the other glands. Okay? So now that we are done with the parts of the brain that are related to the endocrine system, we can now look at the other glands. So first, we bring in the skeletal system just for perspective. And if we zoom here near the throat area, right? Near the throat area, we can bring the endocrine parts. And this part here, so this structure kind of looks like a butterfly. This one, that is the thyroid gland. Okay? So it's below the voice box. So this is the voice box, the area where the voice box is. So below it, that is the thyroid gland. And if we remove all the other stuff, so that we can only see the thyroid gland, again, it looks like a butterfly structure. And if we look at the back of the thyroid gland, we zoom in on it, you have these four little structures. And these four little structures are collectively known as the parathyroid glands. Okay? So there are four glands at the back of the thyroid gland. Those glands are called the parathyroid glands. Okay? So let's bring the other systems back. Let's zoom out. Okay? This time, let us focus on the um, here, the chest area. Again, for perspective, let's just bring in the circulatory system and other systems. If we remove the skeletal system, you can clearly see the circulatory system headed by the heart. And if you look at the heart, remember that the heart has two main um, pipes, and the biggest pipe is called the aorta, right? The aorta. And just below the aorta, it kind of hugs the base of the aorta. It looks like the thyroid gland. It kind of looks like a butterfly structure also, but it's kind of different. This is another gland called the thymus. Okay, the thymus gland. So where is the thymus gland? You simply need to locate where the heart is, and from the heart, locate where the aorta is, and kind of at the base of the aorta, hugging it, is the structure called the thymus gland. Okay. So after the thymus gland, let's bring in the skin for perspective. We now focus on the um, abdomen area, right? If we remove the skin, we can and we bring in the digestive system for perspective, and also the urinary system. We zoom in here. We remove this fatty covering. You notice that this class is the stomach, right? So this is the stomach. You can hide, and you can see this striated muscles. This is the one responsible for churning out the food. But that's not what we are concerned of. What we want to see is what's behind the stomach. So if we hide this, you can see this structure here, this yellow kind of elongated structure. That is what we call the pancreas, or the pancreatic body. So this pancreas is also one of the endocrine glands. Okay? And after that, we can remove the um, digestive system, and we are left with this urinary system. We remove this. Let's just have the skeleton for perspective. Urinary system. So, kind of at the last, below the last rib that you have these two structures, which obviously are the ones that filter out your blood and um, the the form urine, right? And that urine is stored in here, which is the bladder, right? But that's not what we are after. What we're after are the structures that are in on the top of the kidneys. So these are what we call the adrenal glands. So these are the ones that are responsible for adrenaline, right? So the adrenal glands. So now let's zoom out, and then remove the skin. Let's bring out the um, reproductive system, because that is where the last gland is. So if we have the skeletal system, remove the skin. You have here the reproductive system of the male reproductive system. So here you can see that you have this organ that is hanging. This is the testis, or the testicle. So this is the one that is responsible for creating male hormones. So it's also part of the reproductive system. Okay, so let's now switch to a female model, so that we can look at the female reproductive system. Let's remove the skin. And in here, you see this is your uterus for the girls. And if you remove the skeletal system, kind of hanging from the uterus or connected to the uterus are the fallopian tubes here. And then finally, this one is the ovary. Okay, so if you bring in the skin just for perspective, it's near this area here, right? So that is these are the two ovaries, right? These are the two ovaries here. Okay, so let us now zoom out. maybe. Okay. So again, just a recap, what are the members of the endocrine system? Well, there are different parts. So one of them is in the brain, so the pituitary gland, that's the master gland. And there are other two related parts of the brain, like the hypothalamus and the pineal gland. That's not really part of the endocrine system, but very much related to it. And then you have the structure below the voice box, that's the thyroid gland. At the back of the thyroid gland, you have the parathyroid glands. There are four of them. And then you go down to the chest area, hugging the base of the aorta in the heart is the thymus gland. Then you go uh, at the last rib, you have your kidneys. On top of the kidneys, you have the adrenal glands. And then the stomach area, kind of under the stomach, is the pancreas. And then after that, you have the testicle for the males and the ovaries for the females. Okay? So I think that would be all for the members of the endocrine system.